All right, here in this next section, we're going to be talking about reading assessments. So to kick things off, I think it's only fair that I ask you to assess my reading. So here I go. I'm going to go ahead and put my glasses on so I can actually see this. So, okay, so your mission is to assess my reading. So here we go. Done. Okay, how'd I do? What? You're saying you can't hear what I said, or you had really no way to assess my reading since I was doing silent reading? I think that's what you must be thinking. And you are exactly right. Let's think a minute. I wonder if we give any other assessments that do exactly the same thing. Wait, I've got it. TABE, CASAS, GAIN, BEST, whatever. All of those particular reading assessments only assess silent reading skills. So they leave out so much. There's so much that we can learn with doing a better assessment, which is what we're going to learn how to do in this particular section. Now, if you've been in adult basic skills for more than a few years, you know that those TABE, CASAS, GAIN, BEST, whatever scores are inaccurate. And there's a lot of reasons for this. Sometimes students are scared when they come in. Remember working with students where their girlfriend was out in the parking lot, so they just kind of put in anything so they could get down and see her as quickly as possible. So these tests are really, these assessments are really not very accurate. They give us kind of a ballpark figure, but it's a lot of times it's not really until we get the student in class and get to know them and they do some work for us that they really get a chance to see what they're reading it really, really is. So really, it's almost kind of like flying blind when we get these TABE or these CASAS scores. They really aren't as helpful as they could be. So we are going to learn in this section how to give some really specific reading assessments that'll actually give us some very, very useful information. So to start off, what we want to do is prepare for giving students these assessments. You're going to need to first block off some time. Generally, when you first start giving these assessments, it might take hour and 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes if you give them all. There's no law that says you have to give all the assessments at one shot. You could give one a day, one the next time students come, et cetera, et cetera. And usually those are like 15, 20-minute chunks, so you could kind of chunk these. Some things you should have around to help as you give those are a basket of reading glasses. If you're dealing with learners of a certain age, we won't mention that, but sometimes these learners need some help. So I always think it's a good idea if we have a basket of reading glasses. Steve, that would cost thousands of dollars. No, go to the dollar store. They cost $1 at the dollar store, $1. You can get a couple of different strengths there. In that way, if somebody says, well, I don't have my glasses, so I can't do this, you'll be ready to jump in and help them. Some other things you might want to have are some colored overlays, like so. Now, this is nothing mysterious. There's actually an area of research called scotopic sensitivity is the real technical name, but if you've ever heard of Erlin screening, Helen Erlin, you can actually get trained to become a screener, very expensive, very time-consuming. The easy way to do it is go down again to the dollar store or Walmart or someplace and pick up just a couple of these report covers, colored overlays. Generally, most students want blue or light blue is generally what most students will need. Don't tell Helen Erlin I said this, though. She'll be upset because you won't be taking her $500 workshop. But at any rate, you can have those things around. One other thing that you want to have around is a box of tissues. Why? Because sometimes we've seen that students, when we finally figure out exactly what their problem was with reading, they get a little emotional. So good to have that box of Kleenex around. All right, so don't worry about giving these assessments. They are easy to do. There's a list of instructions on them. You can't go too far wrong. Just remember, the first time you gave TABE, CASAS, GAIN, or BEST, you really weren't sure what you were doing either, and now you're an expert, so you'll pick up these assessments as well. So have no fear. Be bold. Remember, like Franklin Roosevelt said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So be bold, be brave. You can give these assessments and you'll do really well with them. So next section, we're going to look forward to learn how to give these specific reading assessments.